Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTbase.com. Welcome to our weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 12th Commitments of Traders report of 2022, and as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. Before we jump to the review, just a brief reminder for those of you who are new to COT analysis, here at COTbase.com, we offer a lot of educational material explaining to you what the Commitments of Traders report is all about. And basically how you can analyze it and benefit from the very valuable information that it contains. We also have some very useful videos as well that will help you guide you through the analysis process. Okay, back to the review and starting off with our first market, the Japanese yen. You can see we are looking at commercials, net positions, and the COT changes based on a 52-week look back period. You can see we have a 25% change signal here. Commercials, of course, represented with this red color chart here. And you can see that this bullish COT change signal is coming after a decline that's been going on for many weeks now. The size of this change is larger than average, but we have seen these larger changes in this past 1 year a couple of times. It suggests that we should see a rebound, prices gaining some momentum in the next couple of days. Moving on to the 5 years chart, you can see that not only do we have a bullish COT change signal, but actually we have more of a bullish stress level currently in the market. Now, if you look at that horizontal red line, you can see that this is definitely, based on this 5-week look back period we're looking at, close to the bullish extreme. So both of our major tools are pointing upwards for the Japanese yen. This, of course, does not necessarily mean we should be expecting a sudden move upwards next week. This trend can continue. We could see stress levels build up to even greater extremes. But nevertheless, it's good to understand that the stresses are pretty high and are indicating a shift in the trend. So be expecting a bottom developing in the next couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months ahead of us. The next market we're going to analyze is feeder cattle. Here we have a 15% change in commercials net positions. This, of course, is a bearish COT change signal, and on the 1 year chart you can see it over there being, again, larger than average, but nothing too unusual, suggesting some weakness in the next couple of days. Moving on to the 5 years chart, you can see that we are actually just moving away from that bullish COT extreme that was there early this month. Just at that bottom, prices have gained, and of course we're not surprised to see traders moving away from those levels as the market reacts to the COT signal. Copper is our next market, 14% change over there in commercials net positions. Of course, moving on to the 1 year chart, you can see that over there. Again, a bit larger than average, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that signal. You can see, especially if we look only at the past couple of months, these change sizes are pretty regular. It is pointing downwards, but I wouldn't be acting on that. Moving on to the 5 years chart, you can see that we are a little bit closer to bearish extreme levels, but nothing huge. Really not much to get from the COT report of copper this week. So let's move our attention towards large speculators, COT Extreme Analysis. You can see coffee, pardon me, why am I going backwards? Sorry. Coffee is our first market, 48 report extreme over there. In large speculators positions, you can see that we had a major bearish extreme mid-February. So you can see that was actually a successful signal. Really great example of how you should deal with these extremes. So the extreme can build up for many, many months or a year even, and you don't really see a reaction. So you got to be cautious with these stress analysis results, because the fact that we have a bearish extreme does not necessarily mean that we're going to see a sudden reaction from the market, but you can definitely expect something to change, and you can start positioning yourselves accordingly. Or if you were, positioned on the bullish side of the market, because if you go back in time, we had some very decent bullish extremes, right? This one is a beauty. Just look at that. Nothing, the price could not go underneath. So you were in the market for quite some time, you get these bearish extremes and you start to scale out of your positions. Maybe that's a way you can act on it. So anyways, we see the market reaction, the reaction of the market, and of course, as that's happening, we see traders shifting their positions accordingly. Now, one might ask, is this a bullish extreme already? Well, if you're only looking at, let's say, a year time frame, then in that time frame, you can consider this more of a bullish extreme. But definitely, if you look at this from a 5 years perspective, no way near a bullish extreme. So this trend can easily continue. We may see coffee, just slowly, gradually losing momentum, seeing prices going lower. And as that's happening, we would expect the stresses just repositioning themselves in traders' positions. And then we've got natural gas. Here we have only 29 report extreme, but these numbers don't necessarily mean anything. So you got to look at the charts. You always have to open the charts to get a real understanding. So what you do is you first you look at the horizontal line. Now, first I started with commercials. Here we have large speculators. You can more or less understand where the current report is standing based on a 5-year history, right? And it's easy to see that we had the most bullish COT extremes somewhere in this region in 2019, 2020. Then, of course, this bullish extreme resulted in the market going much higher. As that was happening, we reached bearish extremes, and we're pulling back towards the bullish side, but we're more or less in between those two extremes at the moment. So there's not too much. If you're expecting this market to go even higher, you can definitely conclude that there's no bearish extreme that would be opposing that narrative. So I think that's something you can grasp from this recent report. Moving on to Mexican peso, our last market for this review, we have a 14 report extreme, really not an extreme, but hey, this is on our list, so let's open it. This is, of course, a currency here. We had a bullish COT extreme the end of 2021. You can see that we have not really seen the market go below that level. So up until now, we can conclude this was a successful signal. Of course, as the market is kind of halting its decline, then we see traders move away from those extremes. Now we have gotten back a little bit. So we were at this commercials 55,000 contracts net short, large speculators above 50,000 contracts net long level, and that was actually a time when we had that bottom. Now this is more, can be considered more of a bearish extreme. And of course, try to focus your eyes on the last 1 year. So within that time frame, we have reached more of a bearish extreme, and yet still we reached a bottom, and the market actually jumped up from there. So it is what it is. You have to look at it sometimes from the wider time angle, and then you can narrow it down to shorter time frames. And by the way, you can always use our COT analysis tools for extreme analysis, like the COT extreme, which of course we look at, we table them. We don't necessarily chart them, but you can do that. COT index and the COT move index, and of course you can define the look back period for those as well. There's a lot to do here, by the way, if we are already opening this left side panel here. So not only do you have access to all the market categories within the COT reviews, I only show you a few, but you got to be a subscriber to get access to all of that. But you can actually look at the newest COT report types, the other data types. So you might want to look only at futures, only at options, or do what I'm doing and look at the combined futures and options data. You can specify a data set that you want to analyze and do that. You can dig into the COT change analysis, and let's say you don't only look at one report compared to a look back period and see how that stands on a 1 year time frame, but you can actually look at multiple reports and then look at a predefined look back period. So you can do that as well. You can do long-term trend analysis. You can look at volume and open interest analysis. Of course, that's not something within COT analysis, but it's a very good supplemental tool. And of course, you can always look back in time and analyze a specific report that you're interested in. Now, if you're somebody who's trading a few markets and you really want to focus on those, you can definitely do that. And choose that market. Let's say we talked about the Japanese yen. Let's open Japanese yen. You can define which report type you want to analyze, what data type you want to analyze, and of course, do all the settings, and then here you go. So you can see that it's really amazing how many data sets you can actually analyze. And by the way, you can chart them as well. So if you want to look at small speculators short compared to the open interest, then that's something available too. You can take down, you're not interested in futures and option data, nor futures. You want to focus your attention on the options only data. You can definitely do that. You can of course download just the charts themselves. You can export the data if you wanted to. By the way, that you need a COT Pro membership. And by the way, talking about COT Pro, let me say that we have these wonderful indicators at your disposal if you wanted to. So COT Base Pro includes everything that you just saw in the video, the website access, but above that, it includes an indicator that you can use in NinjaTrader and then do all the settings that you want to do and use maybe other tools as well. If you're somebody trading in the more shorter time frame, then the ICOT intraday indicator is something for you. An amazing tool that we spent many years to develop. And if you look at the chart here, we have gold on a 1 minute candlestick chart. You can still see these COT charts underneath. Now, of course, this is not COT data coming from CFTC. It's our own indicator, but we developed it in a way that it mimics those analysis features and tools that we use in the traditional COT analysis. But you definitely get a very successful set of tools that will help you enter and exit certain trades. You can definitely combine the longer term tool sets within classic COT analysis to get an understanding of the major trend, or be prepared for a major trend reversal, and then use ICOT intraday indicator to help you get into the market at the best time possible. These red sell signals are the largest sell signals that you can get, or the green vertical lines are the strongest buy signals. Very strong buy signals, strong sell signals. These would definitely be helpful in determining when exactly would you like to trade the market. So a lot of tools here at cotbase.com. I hope you will give it a try, get to know them. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to contact us at info@cotbase.com. I truly appreciate your attention. Thank you very much for being with me. I hope you will have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. Take care. Goodbye.